I am Samantha King, and this is EDL850 Module 4, Chapter 4. And I am going to do mine a little bit different because I'm not really in a school district, a school setting, so I'm going to relate this to my field. In chapter 4, I chose the cell phone. It was cell phones and pagers, and I chose that just because I could closely relate it to some situations in my field. Um, Policy of issued phones that the company would give to their employees would just be for business, and they would understand and know the contract that they have with us and the allowed minutes, allowed data, text messages, and the such, and not to exceed those. Um, Another thing would be accounting. I'm sure would be going over these, and there would probably be some sort of um, reprimanding, I guess you could call it, if there was additional charge that you would have to cover out of your own pocket. The next, I guess, issue that would involve this topic would be driving, and this policy just states that you shouldn't be talking on your cell phone and driving. However, hopefully, this company will have some hands-free devices available, or that the employee is able to purchase that would be beneficial for traveling employees, just because sometimes when you're driving all day, you still need to be in contact with customers and future customers. Personal cell phones, I put in here, are not prohibited. I think that people should be able to have their cell phones with them, especially people who have children and the such. I know back in the day, I think, how did we ever get along and stuff? And I remember several times not being able to reach my parents. They both worked in factories, and even the school had a hard time reaching my parents. So I think that cell phones should be allowed in the workplace. However, because of data and text messaging, I think that sometimes we get a little carried away and absorbed in our cell phone and social life, that it can become a problem. And I think that if it does become a problem, that a supervisor or management would have the authority to confront the issue, to maybe see if they can't create a better way to have the cell phone in the workplace. For that policy, I chose Standard 2 as one of my ISLLCs, and I chose this because, granted, this is I guess stated for a school, but I just kind of replaced some words with employee or supervisor, trainer. And I chose this because that we do have high expectations in the workplace as well as in school, and people need to know, the handbook and the rules that go along with these policies, just to make sure that your staff performance, student performance, and self performance is at its highest level, so that your company is able to reach goals. I also like it because it's handy, it's convenient, it is a technology that you can do so many things with, and in a matter of seconds you can look up information, or receive an answer to a question about your business, or even from another student or teacher, if you have a project that you don't necessarily want people expressing things out loud. It can be used in a lot of different ways. This is just in chapter 4 of our book. At the end of each topic that Dr. Moody asked us to pick, they had the guidelines, and I just kind of put this in here just so that everyone could see and that I could also refer back to it, to make sure that I had sort of followed these guidelines in creating, I guess you could say, a small policy on cell phone use. I think that these are good guidelines, but I think one thing that I disagree with in these, I guess, would be a weakness, would be that they say the use of pagers and cellular phones by students should not be banned. And I guess I kind of have a problem with that being in there. Um, I think that in a school setting, um, I shouldn't even say in a school setting, in a classroom setting, that cell phones don't really need to be in there. I can see and understand why teachers wouldn't want them in there. It is a distraction. Like I said earlier, they can be used for a lot of things with your students and interacting with parents, and it can be beneficial, but I can also see how it can be hindered. So the should not be banned, I think, is a little extreme. I think that if you don't want them in your classroom, that's your choice. Don't have them in your classroom. If you don't mind, then that's your choice. And with those guidelines said, I also chose standard 3, and I chose this standard also, again, replacing maybe administrator with supervisor, or trainer employee, so on and so forth. I chose this because just in the knowledge section, it talks about legal issues impacting school operations, and I think that goes along with my company and the driving issue. Whereas most of the time, these employees are in company vehicles on company cell phones, and that is a big burden, I guess you could say. That's a big thing to carry for a company to carry on their shoulders, is to have that responsibility. Another one, which I just noticed that I'm missing a bullet point, sorry about that, is current technologies that support management functions. I think that in a company setting, that cell phones, computers, technology is very important. It supports everything from communication to for management purposes, to pay, to running the program or product that you're trying to sell. It's all about technology and the technology that allows your company to promote itself in being successful. Like I said, I'm Samantha King, and this is EDL850, and this is my presentation on Chapter 4, Cell Phones.